Very, very positive. So we're going to move right along to our next presentation, and that is the Astra stage. How about a big round of applause for the Astra stage? All right. So Todd is going to talk about the Astra stage. If you have any questions later on, make sure that you go right up to the representatives. That's what they're here for. Todd has a new product. It's pretty cool. We like to see different things. Kind of when Tom came with his stage, and now we have something new to look at, something interesting. So take it away.
My name's Todd Allison. I am the manager of Astra Stages. Some of you know me already because I'm the president of Apex Stages too. Astra is a different company. It has a different production flow. It has a different design philosophy than Apex. This stage is specifically for entry-level sort of smaller events, small organizations. The reason that this is a niche is that there's small organizations deserve stages, and they either deserve a stage that they can buy themselves, or they deserve a stage that you guys can afford to rent. It doesn't make any sense if it's a small street thing to pull out a 2420 when you could be making more money somewhere else. You're not going to take that gig. You're going to go somewhere else, with that SL100 or whatever. And so it's just an opening in the market where somebody needs to stand up and say, hey, we can produce a unit that can do this. Because you're not talking about, for these things, you're talking about having a solid stage and a roof over the head, maybe flying a couple of lights, PA more often than not stacked or on stands or something like that. So this is specifically designed to do that for that marketplace. I'm really more of a question and answer kind of guy and a one-on-one person, not so much a presentation person. But the basics of this unit is it's 16 foot by 20 foot. It's got a trim height that's 12 foot. It weighs, this particular model is the prototype model. It'll hold up to 7,000 pounds, and it's weighing currently just under 7,000 pounds. We plan on changing that to making it an 8,000 pound rig. It goes up. It's is running a lot like a hydraulic. It's got two switches that you can control the lift front and back simultaneously, or take a little bit of the lag out of them as you go independently. So it runs just like if you were running an SL or an Apex or something. It feels a lot like that. It runs off of, it's all electric, winch driven. It runs off of 2 deep cell batteries that you can get anywhere. It's got its own charger on there, so when you're done, you just stick it in the wall and charge it, keep it charged up. Obviously, it'll deploy multiple times, if it's charged. You don't need to always do that, but, keep an eye on it, that kind of thing. It's got a breakaway hitch so that it'll shorten up, take a few feet off of it. It's also low profile, so it's under 7 foot. It's 6'8". It'll clear like a 7-foot garage door. It's often very similar in height to some of the larger pickup trucks that run it. So, keep the gas mileage down. Yes? That's a question that's come up multiple times, and there's a bunch of us that got together. Okay, so the question was, I hear a lot about entry level. What does that mean? And it's like, so what's the rental for one of these things? And of course, that's going to change from market to market, so that's a really difficult question to answer. And sometimes, you don't really have the right tool, so you're using a bigger stage than you need. So that's really kind of a difficult question. But a bunch of us were talking about that. There's some customers from Louisiana and stuff. We were talking about it, and I think the agreement is it'll probably rent somewhere around $2,000. Is I think is what they were thinking it might go for. So obviously that's a market thing, you know, and it depends on what else you got in the market. And that's just a guesstimate. So as far as our production availability goes, we're still taking orders for spring. We build them in pairs. We just had 2 come off the line. We got 2 more going on the line. All 4 of those are sold now. But we still got capacity for spring, right? You know, at the beginning of season. Any particular questions someone wants to? Yes, sir.
What is the relationship between that and Apex? Are you about the same people? Are they just manufactured?
They're actually not manufactured in the same plant. They're manufactured across the facility from one another. They're sister companies. So, yeah, they're sister companies. They're owned by the same owner, which would be me, actually. So, that's the relationship.
What was the motivation for starting it as a company rather than just making it entry level like Apex?
Well, one of the reasons is why I wanted to separate the production and I wanted to separate the development pipeline. So I didn't want to be shackled by what Apex thinks a stage is, if that makes any sense. I just wanted a completely different philosophy with it. And at Apex, what tends to happen is, you know, Jay often works with us because Jay's got ideas. Jay Waller, and he tends to handle the big stuff, and I tend to people and other people with me tend to handle like the 2016 kinds of things. In fact, when the Apex 2016 was designed, I don't want to go over my time. When the Apex 2016 was designed, it was actually, I was shooting for a lower marketplace, and we just kind of totally screwed that up and came up with a more expensive, more capable stage. Because you keep adding things, well, wouldn't it be better if you did this? And then all of a sudden, what you thought was going to be here is here. And we just left it and put it out on the market, and it did its thing, and it's got its marketplace. So I wanted another shot at that. So I've been dealing with trying to get this market right since 2013. And I just didn't do it. And then 2 years ago when I was here, I was like, you know, I really ought to pull the trigger on this. And so here I am again, and I brought toys. So any other questions? Yes, sir.
What's your target price that you want to hit with this guy?
Under 50. Right now it's at 46 the way it is. So there's a few, actually the hang accessories are new and they're not priced yet. It was a little bit lower than that, but I'm struggling against the price of aluminum. So I've kept it under 50. I'm taking a beating on profit at the moment, but aluminum will go a little bit higher before it goes down, so I'll probably go up a little bit more before it's over with, and then hopefully it'll start to ease back. But you know, it is what it is. I don't have any control of world markets. It's mechanical. It's a winch and pulley system. It uses aircraft cable, and the control system. There's 2 up and down levers side by side, and so it's a lot like working like a hydraulic, where you can bring them up at the same time, or you can take a little bit of the lag out and move one up like that. So.
How do you feel reliability compared to a hydraulic stage?
How do you do what?
How do you feel reliability compared to a hydraulic stage?
Oh yeah, I'm totally confident. That technology's been around a long time. You know, we use an aircraft grade cable. We buy the winches, and then we make sure that we don't use any standard cable. We go ahead and replace it with high tensile stuff. Obviously you'll have to watch your cable a little bit, make sure it doesn't fray, but it's also got guards on there, so if it's a snap or something, it's not going to hurt anything. It's all pinned if that ever happens. You can bring stuff down manually. So, and I've seen the reliability of cable and pulley systems over the years, and there's a maintenance to it, but it's a very reliable system. The Apex 5040 was partly hydraulic and partly cable system. If you were, well, you would know. You would know. Yeah, so.
What's the time frame since you get the order to the time delivery?
Right now, I'm taking bookings for May, June, probably. Yeah, so we're just going to continue to build them until I have a pair that's not sold, and then I put them in the garage and work harder. But I've been keeping them. I've been keeping up with the sales as I've been producing pairs, so that hasn't been a problem up until now. It doesn't have the inventory carry as something like an Apex does, obviously. So I'm, a little less concerned about that. Even though we're a startup and pennies are tight. Any other questions? All right, thank you, man.
It's always cool to see new innovative products, and that definitely caught my eye when it rolled up. It's very interesting.